On to Aston Villa, Paul. Could you see Unai Emery bringing Carney Chukwuemeka back to Aston Villa after his exile from the Chelsea squad? It is said that there's a release clause that can be activated at any time.
I'd be surprised. I think I like everyone, was surprised when this deal went through initially, when the two clubs agreed to transfer for the player. But we all spoke about Chelsea's recruitment, and we all spoke about the size of the squad, and he's just another one at the moment that's not getting a look in. There'll be a lot of football players that aren't playing football at Chelsea that are unhappy. I think, but that's good for football in general, because I think there's a lot of clubs that maybe aren't financially rich that could utilise the loan system, because a lot of these players will want to get out and they'll want to play. Chukwuemeka's one. Would he go back to Villa? They say never go back. There must be a reason that they sold him, whether that was FFP, PSR, whatever the reason was for the sale initially. He wouldn't be a priority for Villa, but I think he's one at Chelsea. It's interesting to see what Maresca's doing there, because we spoke at length about his recruitment, about the size of the squad, all the memes, the jokes about the size of the dressing rooms, the size of the bus and everything. Saw them play at Ipswich on Monday, and they've dropped off. They lost at home to Fulham. They drew 0-0 away at Everton. But then I was doing my notes for the game, and you think, where were they last? Where was Maresca last year? Leicester. Remind me the gap at the top. It was 19 points, 20 points at the top of the league. It was some huge gap that they had. But after Christmas in the new year, they had a massive drop-off, and they only recovered and stumbled over the line at the end of the season. That gap got closed right down. I know I've gone off topic a little bit, but the way that Maresca plays and what he asks from his players, he's very young in his managerial career, so we've not got much to compare it to. But the drop-off at Leicester, is that starting to happen at Chelsea because of what he's asking from his players, because of the demands he's putting on them in training? Is that going to be a thing at Chelsea? Because if that is a thing, he may have to filter some more of these players into the first-team squad and utilise the players that he's got.
And Pete, Aston Villa are looking to definitely add in that area. They're linked with quite a few players. Thiago Alcantara is a deal that they've been linked with recently, potentially stealing this one right under the noses of Lyon, because as you spoke about earlier, obviously they're having their financial
Yeah, it's probably
issues.
an opportunity that might
Aston Villa
arise
actually
for
getting
Villa
this deal
now
over
with
the line?
Almada, as you said. Lyon were hoping to sign him because obviously John Textor is part owner of Botafogo, and obviously Lyon as well, so it was a straightforward deal to do between those two sister clubs if Lyon were going to sign him, but they are prevented from making any signings in January due to their financial issues. Look, Villa have looked at Almada in the past. I think it was 2023 that they considered signing him. Again, like Paul, I'm not sure they need to strengthen in midfield. Lots of reports suggesting that they are looking to strengthen in attack, and that they are exploring the move for Donyell Malen from Borussia Dortmund. I think that would be probably the top priority for Villa in this January transfer window, if they could bring in somebody like Malen who can play as a number 9 or out wide as well. If they could get a midfielder in and an opportunity arises that Almada could be available from Botafogo due to Lyon seeing a deal collapse, it's something that Unai Emery, I'm sure, would consider, because he will want to strengthen the squad in this window, because we've got Champions League football in the new year. Where Villa will be hoping to reach the latter stages of that competition, and he will be hoping his side can make a big push for a top 4 finish in the Premier League as well. I think they're sitting in 9th right now as well, but I think if Villa can go on a bit of a run, they can really close that gap and get back into that top 4 race, because I think that top 4 race is wide open. I think there is a door open there for a Villa or somebody else in around that position to get that place this season as well, because nothing's locked down, I think. But yeah, Villa for sure, they always back their manager, and if he wants to go out there and strengthen the squad, I'm sure it's something they will look at.
And Paul, Pete mentioned the links to Donyell Malen and other attackers around Europe. Matteo Riviere is another one that's being linked. Why do you think Aston Villa are being linked with an attacker when they have the likes of John Duran and Ollie Watkins, two very prolific scorers?
Don't know. Really don't know. But it's that wide player. It's that Richarlison position, isn't it? There's somebody who can play wide and as the number 9. These players are all players that are capable of doing that, playing the same positions like Son does at Tottenham. He can either play out on the left, the right, or he can play as that number 9 figure. And all the players that have been linked are those type of players. In John Duran and Ollie Watkins, they've got two fantastic strikers. We know that Duran's suspended at the moment. Watkins played, he scores a goal. I think they're two different strikers. I think Ollie Watkins a bit like, I don't know the guys, but looking at it from the outside, it looks like Ollie Watkins is the type that needs to know he's playing every week. He needs the arm around the manager. You look at last year, when did he start scoring goals? When did he come into form? When Danny Ings was sold, when there was nobody else for his place, when there's nobody challenging him, that's when you got the best out of him. Now all of a sudden you've got John Duran there. John Duran, he signed a new contract to start this season, which surprised a few people. So both are on long-term contracts. Unai Emery, whenever he's asked, he said, yeah, they can both play together. I've got no qualms about playing them together. Yet we've never seen him do it unless they're chasing a game and one comes on as a wider attacker or as a number 10. I don't think they need reinforcements in that area, but they're always linked with these players. I think they've got two quality players in John Duran and Ollie Watkins, and the system that he plays with the one up top, the three in behind, or the two wide players, whatever he does, that striking position, he's got two of the best in the Premier League. Whether there's going to be any movement there or not, we don't know.
I don't see a move for Retegui in January. Look, he's done really well for Atalanta this season, 14 goals and 4 assists and 25. They're not going to want to weaken their squad. They're trying to win the Serie A title and are also going well in the Champions League. So, yeah, I don't think any move could happen in January for him. Maybe in the summer, if a Duran or somebody was to leave, then they might look at Retegui, who is a prolific goal scorer and does look like he's got all the attributes maybe to be a success in England. He's a big, strong number 9. So I'm sure there'll be clubs looking at him come the summer if you're looking to bring in a new number 9.